Welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another episode from Salvage Nation. In this episode, we got something different for you guys. So in the quest to diversify our content, we went out and we got a VW transporter, but it's not just any VW transporter. If I get out of the way, as you can see, someone's tried to repair this van before and they failed, and we're hoping that we can pick up exactly where they left off, but do it to a better, higher standard, just like we always do here at Salvage Nation. So, I'm gonna give you a bit of a story. This van used to belong to someone on Facebook, and I was just looking for something new, different for the channel. I think they ran into a little issue, I don't know, financial issues, and they wanted to get rid of the van. It's got low mileage, it's a 2018 transporter, VW transporter that is. It's got 50k on the clock, it's a diesel, it's ULEZ compliant, the engine starts, runs, the car drives like a dream. However, it looks like they've just had this complete side just KO'd. Look here, this A-pillar, we're gonna have to get rid of that. We're gonna be cutting that out. We're gonna be putting in a new A-pillar. And guess what? You guys are gonna get to see all of that in this episode. So I hope you enjoy. I'm gonna stop talking. Let me show you around the car. So this is one of the new builds that's gonna be on the channel. It's a 2017 VW Transporter. It was abandoned, it was left for dead, and hopefully we can do something with it. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Now, first of all, I know a lot of you guys always get into the DMs, to the comments, and you want to know like the finances behind it. This was not cheap. Have a look at it. It's a mess, absolute mess, but it was not cheap. Now, these cars go from anywhere between 25, 26K. I've even seen some in a similar age group, similar mileage. I'm not sure about the condition, but I've seen some of them upwards of 30K. We paid, wait for it, I'm gonna tell you straight out the gate, we paid just shy of 16 grand in the state that it is. And I know 16 grand is a lot of money. Believe me, it's a lot of money, but in the grand scale of things, the finances have to make sense. That is less than half the price of what we believe this is worth, and the damage is not that bad. I think I made a mistake. I said 2018 earlier, it's a 2017 VW Transporter TDI. If you do the research, do the maths, trust me, we are onto a winner here, and that's how I feel. You guys let me know what you think in the comments down below. But Akil here, Akil's gonna get to work. What's the first step? I feel like the front end, it's just a matter of replacing some parts. This is the hardest bit, so we're gonna be chopping it right here, chopping it here, taking that outer skin off, and we're gonna get a new skin on there. We went ahead and I made a phone call, I think a few days ago, and we got a complete corner. This bit from here all the way to here was cut and is sent out to us. It came in the post this morning, so we need to prepare that. Then we're gonna move over here, prepare this section. But before we do all of that, let me show you around the rest of the car. So guys, as you can see, the front end of the van is in decent condition. There's not a lot of damage there. Everything is kind of isolated to this side. Like D, I just checked, the back is all right as well. Everything is cool here. Cheers, mate. Yeah, like he said, the back is all right as well. The other side is all right as well. And we're gonna start with everything here. So guys, with all of that explained, I hope you got a better understanding of what we're trying to do here. As you can hear, Akil is over there hammering away. He's gotten started with preparing that little piece that I told you about. So let's go over there and see how he's getting on. So we managed to locate the same type of van that was breaking up in Nottingham. We gave the guy a phone call. He was able to make the cut exactly where we pointed it out, and he sent it out to us. It only costed like 130 quid delivered. So what Akil is doing is just drilling out the spot welds that holds the various layers of the panel together. From the factory, the VW panels come in sections of 3, and I'll be showing you that in a second, but we're simply drilling out the spot welds. Now for the other side of this panel, but this is the side where the windscreen would have been sitting, and as you can see, there's some black residue of the windscreen sealant which was there before. We just have to use a sanding disc on a grinder to clear that so we can access the same spot welds. With that side done, what Akil is doing is removing the sanding pad, leaving the cutting disc, and now it's time to trim that piece down to size. Now by this stage we had already measured this piece, so we know exactly what we need, but what Akil is actually doing is cutting it a little bit bigger then we're going to be trimming it down to size at a later stage. Now with the cuts made, this particular panel was still a little bit stubborn to come apart, and that's because it's held together with some foam and also some glue, but we were able to heat it up with this torch and that did the trick, and there it is. This is the top skin of the 3 layers of this piece. Guys, I just want to point something out. This bit here, this is the structural integrity of that part, and as you can see, we haven't touched that bit at all. We've just gone for the outer skin, and this is a perfect example, and make sure it's zoomed in. As you can see, you've got the outer skin and then the inner skin, and we haven't touched the inner skin. So, if we come over here to what Akil's doing, Akil's just lining it up, and it's better. So we're gonna have to do the exact same thing for the bit that's on the van. It is a lot of work, but this is the proper way to do it. And once again, like I've just showed you, we will not be touching the inner skin on that part, so we wouldn't be damaging or kind of compromising the structural integrity of the van. So we will just be replacing the outer skin. I hope that makes sense. Let's continue getting that on. I've never seen that before in all my time. Wow, and it just zips and goes back in. So you're gonna be cutting around here. So as you can see, Akil went ahead and made the cuts in exactly the same way as we did in the previous piece. Let's see how they match up. With the part off the car, it was time to just clear up that edge with a sanding disc before marking it up and making sure that it can fit. Alright fellas, alright lads, ladettes, whoever, as long as you're watching, I thank you. Anyway, as you've just seen, Akil just spent a long old time just sorting out this. This is the skin that we took from our donor piece. We kind of chopped a rough section out of the existing pillar that's on the car, and I just sized this up just to show you guys, and you've just seen some slow motion shots. So let's get this back off, and we've gone ahead and Akil trimmed this down to size. This is going to be the final size, and we've gone ahead and we've made our markings on the car. It's all about measuring twice, cutting once, and in this case we measured 5 times and we're going to just cut it once, and that has fallen into my trusted hands. So I've got my angle grinder. I'm going to put the cutting blade on. I've got a sanding blade at the moment because, as you just seen, we just had to take care. I just went ahead and cleaned up this kind of surface just to make sure that this is nice and clean, so that when we're welding, it's going to have a nice clean metallic surface to do the best possible welds. I just need to do the final trims on this section. We've got a nice mark right there, and right here, and then this should slot in. We're not going to be cutting this anymore. So yeah, let's get the angle grinder, get everything set up, get these bits out, and get this in place. Alright, you guys, so as you just saw, we got a nice clean cut down here at the bottom. Got a nice clean cut up there at the top as well. Akil is just, how's it looking, Akil? Yeah, man. Akil's just lining everything up, making sure that my cutting, well done, please, exactly. Guys, I have to make sure he tells me well done when I do something. No, that's okay. But yeah, look at my cut. That cut, jeez, that's a good cut. And then if you look up there, make sure it's focusing. That is a very good cut. We're still gonna make sure that everything lines up, and we've got the original spot welds to make sure that everything is lining up perfectly as it would have come out the factory, and then we're gonna weld that in place. And another thing, like I said earlier on in the video, we haven't touched this inner part, so we're not gonna be messing around with the integrity or the structural integrity of the car, van, whatever you wanna call it. So right now it's all about getting it into the correct position, making sure that everything is nice and lined up, and then we're gonna tack it in. So let's go. So after trimming and fine-tuning the replacement piece, we were now happy that everything was lining up just where we wanted it, and now it was time to weld it into place. No face, no case. And there we have it. With the piece welded into place, we simply changed the blade from a cutting blade to a sanding blade, and then we were able to sand or partially sand some of those welds that we did earlier on. Alright you guys, so this man here, Mr. Spider-Man himself, he did an amazing job. You saw him climbing all up on the camper van. This is actually so tall. I'm 6'1". How tall are you, Akil?
6.5, man.
Yeah, Akil's what, you're 6
meters, bro.
2 meters, 2 meters, he's proud of this, 2 meters.
Yeah.
And still we can't reach up at the top. Yeah, so literally you gotta do what you gotta do to get the job done. Yeah, you've done a good job. Welded it into place, sanded it down. That is done, that is solid. That's not going anywhere. What he's doing right now is we added some seam sealer on the top. Obviously, that's where a lot of the water from the rain, etc., etc., is going to be. So we've got a seam seal. We're going to seam seal all of it, but we want to wait until the windscreen replacement is done, and then we will know exactly where all the other places that we need to put the seam sealer. Because when the guy comes, he's going to be using his own primer and sealer, so we don't want to kind of like have it mixed or mess around with what he's got to do. But with all of that, the new part is in place, and this is a major step. How's that for our first episode? I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to show you these slow motion shots of everything that we have done. Yeah, man. So as you can see, the piece is fully welded into place, and I know you're going to be in the comments saying how rough it looks, and that's because we're using a MIG welder and we're not finished with the sanding process. After we sand it down, we'll also be adding a little bit of body filler, and then we'll be body working that to make everything nice and smooth, and those welds will be nice and tucked behind some seam sealer, which we'll do at a later stage. But for now, it's time to get that door on the car, do a test fit, make sure the fitment on that welded piece is nice and smooth, and make sure that the lines are all good. There you have it. After a little bit of adjustment and tons of removing and putting it back on, everything is lining up perfectly and it looks 100%. Alright you guys, so it's been a long old day. This bad boy took all day, so I think I'm going to split this episode into two, and I'm going to be guided by you guys. So I want you to get in the comments and let me know if you want to see the ending or how we get on with this. Let me know in the comments, subscribe, you know what to do. Akil did a bit of messing about with the door. It opens, it closed perfectly, the gaps are perfect, this is in place. We're gonna let the seam sealer cure overnight. We're waiting for some parts on the front end to come in, and Mr. Glass, you've seen him in the M4 build, the M140i build, you've seen him in all my builds. He's coming down on Tuesday in about 2-3 days from now, 2-3 days? 2-3 days from now, and guess how? This windscreen is £421, and that is cheap. It's fully heated for the VW transporter. So parts are not cheap, But this is where we're gonna head off. Let me step back. Let me know what you think. In the next episode, we're gonna be spraying, we're gonna be fitting up all the parts, we're gonna be replacing that windscreen, and yeah, by the next episode, this is gonna be done. So if you wanna see how we get on, make sure you subscribe, and this is where we're gonna head off. So like I always say, keep it moving, and I'll see you in the next one. Done. Easy, yeah, one take. Guys, thank you for watching. Click here to see what YouTube thinks you should watch. Click here to watch one of my previous episodes. And like it said there, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We out.